Going live on YouTube. College Gym Vids fan going live on YouTube. Streaming live on YouTube. I'm going to put my iPad in the stand now. Okay, you can see the TV. Now I gotta get up out of my chair to get the remote so I can choose the gymnastics meet. Let's see. Go to BTN Plus. Okay, go to schedule. No, I don't want to exit. Go to men's gymnastics. Okay. I already put up Penn State, Ohio State. I think I'll put up Illinois, Iowa. Full replay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in to Big Ten Gymnastics. It's a top 10 duel between the Iowa Hawkeyes at 1-0 and the Illinois Fighting Illini ranked 4th at 2-1 on the season. John Rawson alongside former Iowa gymnast Nick Merriman. As it's going to be a good one here, a pair of top 10 teams. And what do you expect from today as this duel unveils?
Well, you know, I'm really looking forward to this. There's a high level of talent in these two teams. You know, this is the best I've seen Iowa looking in a while. And coming off a win and a couple weeks off should be a good show from Iowa. And, you know, Illinois, coming off a loss and a week off, they should be fired up. So, really looking forward to seeing these guys perform.
Right, it's two fresh teams in Illinois who you mentioned coming off that loss. Not an easy contest, losing to Penn State. That's the #1 team in the nation right now. But now they're on the road here in Iowa as the Hawkeyes had a couple weeks off after starting the season against Minnesota.
And Iowa will start on the floor.
Rotation 1 will be Illinois on the pommel horse, Iowa on the floor as Michael Fletcher will be up to start on the pommel horse for Illinois and Tope, which we'll start with on the floor. We'll start our coverage with Tope on the floor, one of the 3 all-arounders for Iowa today.
You know, this event, floor, it's one where you're going to be looking a lot at landings. That's where a lot of deductions are going to be coming from. So minimizing those steps will be a huge help, just like you did there.
So a versatile athlete last year as a freshman and an all-arounder, and hasn't competed on the floor this season for only the 1 meet, but gets his opportunity today against the 4th team in the nation.
Some good non-acro there. One of the required element groups.
Another pass on the way from Tope.
Finishing up with the triple pull. Not sure if they're going to give him a stick on that, but as a clean routine, exactly what they need to start off the meet.
Carter Tope, the leadoff man on the floor for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Again, I mentioned he'll be one of the 3 all-arounders. It'll be, check that, 4 all-arounders. It'll be Tope, Stuart Brown, Evan Davis, and Bennett Long that will all compete all around for Iowa, and we'll head to the pommel horse as Illinois just got that lead off, and they'll go down to the #2 slot. First rotation underway. This is actually the back end of a doubleheader. The women's gymnastics team competed in a tri-meet with Minnesota and Maryland. It came down to the final rotation, but Iowa lost by 2/10 to Minnesota, who got revenge after losing last week, and Maryland finished third. So doubleheader action, we've got both of them with you as waiting to get those final scores in for Illinois. On the pommel horse, over the pommel horse, it's Tyler Schmidt. Schmidt's seen limited time in his career, but competed in the pommel horse to start the year against Northern Illinois. Put up an 11.85, hasn't competed since. As Michael Fletcher's score comes in as a 13 for Illinois. Good start for Illinois.
Yeah, that's especially a strong spot on horse where, you know, a lot of falls happen. Especially with the first event, first person, get the jitters out of the way. That's a good start for them. You're going to like that 13. And another hit.
Back-to-back strong pommel horses. It's Tyler Schmidt that follows up a good start from Michael Fletcher. Still have not got the final score on the floor. It looks like a 13 on the board. And it's James Freeman that will go for the Hawkeyes. Freeman, a freshman, at a 13 on the floor in his debut against Minnesota. And it is a 13 flat on the floor for Carter Tope to lead things up, so a pair of 13s to start for both teams.
Very nice 2.5 punch half there.
It's Tope, Freeman, Davis, the front three for Iowa on the floor as Freeman gears up for the final pass.
Triple fault to finish the routine and small adjustment on the landing. It's another hit though, and they're going to roll with that.
Strong starts as we can see the top 10 competition happening today. As we just got that score in from Schmidt. A 13-1 for Illinois' Tyler Schmidt. I believe that's a career high.
That's a strong score for horse. 2 13s back to back.
Well, we talked before this all started. You said pommel horse is one of the more difficult events, one of the lower scoring ones as well.
It is, yeah. Definitely one of the hardest events to maintain control over and come out on top on. Like you just saw, you know, there are these skills that you do on a horse where it's just so hard to stay on the pommels, and it's going to be a big deduction when you come on.
Sebastian Ingersoll now, and that was a career high for Tyler Schmidt. His previous career high was earlier this year in 11.85 and dominates that. And you talked, it's easy to fall, and Ingersoll slips off there.
Yeah, this is a tough routine. 2 falls in, and you just need to finish strong. The next person up will have to bring back morale of the team and keep the rest of the meet going strong. You can't let one routine affect the rest of the meet.
Young freshman
there at the end, but got through the routine. 2 falls, not going to be one of the highest scoring, but luckily there's another one that can be dropped.
The freshman Ingersoll. Really a welcome to the Big Ten for the young freshman from Chicago, not too far. We'll head to the floor as Evan Davis stands in for Iowa. Freeman score a 13-8, so back-to-back 13 pluses for Iowa and Illinois to start things off.
Very nice with that little front, small hop at the end, but high value pass.
Davis was an all-arounder against Minnesota, one of the two for Iowa, had a 78, been an all-arounder since his freshman year.
A little bit of personal artistic flair going into this non-acro.
The pass from Davis.
There we go. That's a stuck triple pull. And there's the flag.
Davis fired up, going back to the Hawkeye benches. 3 straight strong floors.
That was a great routine. A couple little hops here and there. A little mess up in the corner. It didn't look too intentional, but other than that, very strong routine.
We'll head to the horse with Tommy Mistretta for Illinois. Mistretta, 5th-year senior.
This is a very strong routine. He's always been a very competitive individual on pommel horse. He's got the long bike with a very nice circle.
One of the taller athletes for Illinois, 3-time academic All-Big Tenner. Tommy Mistretta.
That's a big routine. It's going to be big, especially coming off that fall.
Sebastian Ingersoll's pommel horse for Illinois was a 10.55, so those couple falls do cost him, but still a pretty decent start for Illinois on one of the lower scoring events, and got another good one as well from Mistretta. As we wait to see the score from Davis. Stuart Brown, the junior, will compete next for Iowa as the 4th on the floor for the Hawkeyes. It's been a good start for Iowa, and you've got to cash in on a lot of those high-scoring events, especially with the floor routine that Illinois has. We've seen some of the notes as Illinois, one of the top 5 in the nation in terms of scoring points on the floor, so you've got to pick up some points there. 4th nationally, averaging 66.7 points per game, or rather points per meet. We had that tri-meet earlier with the women's gymnastics team with Minnesota and Maryland, and it moves a little quicker. There's always something going on, a little more dead time, a little more relaxed.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially as you're waiting for the judges to tabulate these scores. Sometimes there's inquiries, things that come up.
Evan Davis, it's his final score read for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
For Davis. Big way half from Stewart. A little hoppy on these first 2 passes. Cleaning it back up here.
Stewart will be an all-arounder tonight for Iowa as the sun is set on a cold day. Might be record-breaking lows tomorrow, but things heating up here between a pair of top 10 teams as Brown gears up for the pass.
Very clean. Final pass coming around here. Tuck, half. Small hop. That was a very good routine. And he's fired up about that one.
The floor so far for the Iowa Hawkeyes is the scores on the board that we have right now. 14 for Davis, 13-8 Friedman, and Tope with a 13 flat. Tommy Mistretta's pommel horse a 13.05. So aside from Ingersoll's 10.55, it's been 3 13s for Illinois.
Yeah, and on horse, a couple of 13s all across the board. That's something that's hard to come by, and if they can continue hitting routines. I think that Justin Spring's going to be happy about that one.
We'll go to the pommel horse now. It's Ian Skirky, the junior for Illinois. Skirky was actually a pommel horse All-American last year, a career high of 14-7 for the junior. Definitely a nice thing to have, and that 6th spot is your anchor for a rotation, a guy who can throw up a 14 on the horse.
Definitely, that's a huge score on horse. Should be a good routine.
Still waiting that go ahead. Bennett Long and Kalani Taylor, pair of seniors for Iowa, still waiting to go on the floor. Hawkeyes after this have another tough test. Number 1 Penn State comes to town, so you've got back-to-back against a pair of top 5 teams. A good chance to climb up the rankings for Iowa this week, and can't ask for much more than the opportunity to go out and compete against some of these top teams. To the floor, it's going to be Bennett Long that will compete, as Skirky will finish things up for Illinois on the pommel horse. As you can see there now, Skirky, that All-American. Long starts out on the floor as Skirky to finish up on the pommel horse, and a good first pass.
Very clean double, minimal lane deductions. Like I said at the beginning of this rotation, it's really one of those events where you're really looking at landings, how well you can control those, and if you can control them, you can just get a high score. And Bennett is doing just that.
Long as a star, he finished 9th in the all-around at the NCAAs in 2019 and put up an 80-plus score, 80.45 as an all-arounder against Minnesota 2 weeks ago. Stuart Brown's score comes in. It was a 13-5 for the Iowa Hawkeyes, so they got 54-3 through 4 go-arounds on the floor. Here's the pass.
That's a stick.
Fired up, a big pass from Bennett Long to finish things off. And
that was a phenomenal routine.
a 12-2-5 from Carter on the pommel horse. Hamish Carter for Illinois. So waiting Skirkies to end things off for Illinois. So Logan Meyers, it's waiting by the pommel horse to go, not listed in the rotation. Bringing the bell for Bennett Long, or stop landing. Logan Meyers on the pommel horse. Meyers, a freshman from Morris, Colorado. Hasn't seen too much action, but it's a big roster for Illinois and a lot of guys who can compete. Meyers, a young star. He'll be a good asset for the Fighting Illini. Earned an event title in his college debut on the P-Bars with a 13-5. That's against Northern Illinois, who's also a top 15 team, so it's not like that's a slouch competition either. Run some scores down for you. First on the floor for the Hawkeyes, Evan Davis a 14 flat. James Friedman a 13-8. Stuart Brown a 13-5. Carter Tope a 13. That led things off for the Hawkeyes. On the pommel horse, Ian Skirky with that 13-7 before Logan Meyers, who's now on the horse, who fell just a moment ago. Tyler Schmidt, a a 13-1, Mistretta 13.05, Michael Fletcher 13 flat, so 4 13 pluses on the pommel horse, Amos Carter 12.25, and Sebastian Ingersoll a 10.55.
Now over your Iowa Hawkeyes, Kalani Taylor.
Over to the floor, it's Kalani Taylor for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Set up with a big double-double. And there's a reason he's an anchor spot on this event.
Spent a lot of his career on the floor, the senior rounding out his 4-year career at Iowa.
A little struggle there on the non-acro press. And just slight deduction. 2.5 full. Bit of a low landing and a small hop out of there.
Taylor the pass.
Should be finishing up with a triple full. And there we go.
Strong first rotation for both teams, 65-1 on the pommel horse for Illinois and Iowa. We've got 14 from Bev Wong right now, both him and Davis, 14s. That's a really good scores for Iowa with two guys who know how to run the floor.
I think they're going to be really happy with that, how that rotation went, you know. Pulling out 2 14s, 68 on floor. They're going to be happy so far. Still have Amari Sewell up to go though.
Amari Sewell, the last competitor waiting on this first pass as we got the exhibition from Myers in an 8.55 from Myers. Got off a couple times, struggled, but again, you've got a lot of time as a freshman to develop. And Amari Sewell, a sophomore from Landover, Maryland, near Washington, D.C. One of the taller Hawkeyes at 5'10". Good vaulter at a 14.5 last meet.
Definitely. He is very bouncy. A lot of lift on these passes.
Just waiting Kalani Taylor's score, as that will be the go-ahead for Sewell. Six rotations in men's gymnastics. If you watch the women's gymnastics, it's only 4. That was a tri-meet as well. Only 2 teams here, Iowa and Illinois. And it's 6 events, pommel horse, vault, floor, parallel bars, high bars, and the rings. From the outsider looking in, this is one of the more difficult sports. People talk about sports that are really difficult. This is one of them that comes up. This and wrestling. But this sport isn't necessarily objective scoring. It's subjective to these judges and their perceptions of your scores. And
Right. And, you know, there's a code of points that they go off of, but then again, you know, you'll see different things sometimes. And you just really have to minimize the opportunity for the different faults.
a 12-6 for Taylor. That was the anchor for the Iowa Hawkeyes, and Sewell would have given an extra spot for the Hawkeyes, and you saw that bounce there.
Another big double-double. So much lift on that into a stuck landing. Double full, punch full, a little short one, twisting and a small hop out of that. Very good routine so far though. Good landing on that pass. Yeah, controlling these landings is key.
Sewell gearing up. Good pass from Amari Sewell.
Oh, that's tough. Very good routine other than that last pass, though.
Hawkeyes will take it, though. 68-3 on the floor for the Iowa Hawkeyes, 65-5 on the pommel horse for Illinois. We'll step away for a couple minutes, come back after the touch period. Rotation 2 coming up next. Strong start between number 10 Iowa and number 4 Illinois. You're watching Big Ten Gymnastics on BTN Plus. Start the second rotation from Culver Hawkeye Arena. John Rawson alongside Nick Merriman as good strong start for both of these teams. A 68-4 for the Hawkeyes on the floor, a 65-5 for Illinois on the pommel horse. These teams will switch. It's now Illinois on the floor and the Hawkeyes on the pommel horse, and that's where we'll start.
Leading out with Andrew Helberg.
Helberg, the junior, and 11.75 on the horse. That is his only event last week, or 2 weeks ago, against Minnesota.
Strong to their sequence despite very keen on it. Good travel sequence. Push him out. That's a hit routine. Great way to start off fourth rotation.
Drew Helberg, the junior from Spring, Texas, starts things off strong. Hawkeyes have got good starts from both their leadoff spots with Tope on the floor as well as now Helberg on the pommel horse. Go to Illinois on the floor. It's Dylan Kolak, the sophomore from Pomona, New York.
Big double-double. Also, big hop out of bounds is going to be big deduction.
Kolak, a vaulter throughout his career, stepping into the floor a little more this season than in the past. It's a very deep and strong Illinois team, top to bottom. They've got talent at every event. On the pommel horse, James Friedman after the 13-1 from Drew Helberg.
Strong flop sequence from Freeman there. Another great flop into the travels. Flows on the circle here, but gets through. Good dismount, doesn't stop. That's another hit.
Freeman a 13-8 on the floor and a strong pommel horse as well as the Hawkeyes starting rotation 2 pretty well, but look like a good floor routine from Kolak as well. So Illinois is going to have a good start at that leadoff spot where Kolak's going to probably slot into that role a little more, something he's done early this year. I mentioned it. 4 all-arounders for Iowa, a bit of a thinner roster compared to across the Big Ten, which means there's a little more versatility in some of these athletes. And what's the difficulty of competing all around, having to go and prepare and be ready for every event?
Oh, well, personally from my experience, I competed all around my first few years, and it's difficult, definitely going weekend to weekend, competing in all those events, and but it's also a rewarding thing, you know, being able to showcase all your skills and hard work on those events.
The 4 of those for the Hawkeyes, those 4 all-arounders are Evan Davis, Ben Long, Stuart Brown, Carter Tope. Illinois got a pair as well, Michael Fletcher and Logan Meyers, who will compete all around to drop an 8.55 in that extra spot on the pommel horse. So they'll likely get an exhibition as just a 7th slot on those spots, but still waiting Amari Sewell's go around as we're pending James Friedman's score that just pops up with a 13-2. So back-to-back 13 pluses for the Hawkeyes, and there's Sewell on the pommel horse for Iowa.
Exactly what we're looking for in those first couple lead-off spots. Strong, consistent, mid-13s.
Dylan Kolak's score comes in as a 13.05. Just 500ths better than the start for Carter Tope, but Sewell's so long and tall compared to a lot of the other athletes.
Bit of a struggle on that dismount there, but it's another hip routine, and the rest of the line's going to be happy about that one. Stayed on, even through some little rocky areas. But that's all you can ask for on horse. Hip routines.
Now to the floor with Illinois after a really strong start. This is Max Diaz, the senior. I saw his picture on the roster, and he drew a bullet just for the team picture. A personality from the young star for Illinois.
That's tough.
Someone to fall on the final pass for Max Diaz. What a breakout sophomore year. Didn't compete too much last year at 4 individual event titles in a limited time, but everything but the finish there for Diaz. It'll be Skirky that's next, but we'll head to the pommel horse. As Iowa on the horse after 2 really strong starts, and a good one from Sewell as well as Carter Tope in the 4 spot. 106.85, that's the total score for Iowa as it just changed, meaning we're going to get a score for Amari Sewell. 12.15 for Sewell.
Not the greatest score, and definitely something that they're not going to be wanting to count, but just have to keep going through the rotation and taking routines.
It is better than his debut against Minnesota. He put up an 11-2, so some improvement by about a point. That's all you can ask for from a young man. And here's the Urbandale, Iowa native Carter Tope.
That's another good routine, bit of a struggle in the middle portion of his routine, but it's a hit routine and it's a relatively high star value, so.
Should best his 11-2 from Minnesota. Both him and Sewell with 11-2s will likely improve on those scores.
Definitely a confidence boost when you're getting through these pommel horse rotations and hitting routine after routine, even if they're not the greatest.
Diaz's score comes back as a 12.35, so that fall across it would have been a 13 plus, but now it's Skirky, Ian Skirky, that's on the floor for Illinois.
Strong start with the double full punch full, medium step. Good 2.5 half. A little unsure on that landing.
Skirky really stepping to the floor for the first time in this 2021 season. He did compete earlier this year at 13.05, and that's his career high, so only a couple times on the floor in his career.
You saw just earlier some of that pommel horse knowledge and skill coming into play on the floor routine with the non-acro skills.
Skirky gearing up for the pass here.
Big triple for the finish.
Another one, Evan Davis on the pommel horse. The Hawkeyes 4 strong routines, another 13. A 13 flat from Carter Tope. It's just a 26 all around through 2.
Strong flat sequence from Davis. Good routine so far. Just a dismount here. He throws that right up the handstand. That's what they're looking for.
5 strong pommel horses for the Hawkeyes.
That's definitely something that, it's going to be a huge boost to the energy of the team. Getting through a horse rotation with those hits is crucial.
Illinois as a team at a 65-2 on the pommel horse. So of course that's, your mental number to beat. You want to be better than that.
Right.
It's another bell from Davis. Back-to-back suck landings on dismounts for Evan Davis. The Hawkeye anchor on the pommel horse is Bennett Long, still waiting that score from Davis as he just finished up. Illinois had that week off, so did Iowa. So 2 fresh teams as Illinois coming off a loss to Penn State on the road a couple weeks ago. But Illinois 4th in the rankings behind Ohio State, who's 2nd. They beat them already this year, but that's a really strong Ohio State Penn State team. 3 of the 4 top 4 are in the Big Ten. A handful of them in the top 5 or top 10 rather in Iowa. One of them right on the outskirts at number 10. As we'll see another score come up for the pommel horse. Evan Davis, 13-4. It's a pommel horse high for the Hawkeyes, and it is the 2nd highest of all competitors. Only Skirky higher at 13-7.
That's definitely one of the better scores that you're going to be seeing on the horse, especially with the other consistent 13s in the lineup. That's big for this pommel horse squad. A little hung up on that travel, but pushed through. Good quick dismount with the extra 10 at the end. For an extra 10.
Bennett Long finished things off for Iowa on the pommel horses. We're headed to the floor. It's Manavong for Illinois. And the Manavong has won 3 straight vault titles this year. And now on the floor for Illinois. Tall, lanky, strong, Evan Manavong.
Manavong's twisting is one of the best that I've seen. Such a quick and dynamic athlete.
Kick bounce and the final pass for Manavong to end things off. Follows up Skirky's 13-3. So Kolak at 13-05, Diab 12-3-5, Skirky at 13-3. And that was the 4th for Illinois. .133.25 for Iowa, almost through 2 rotations, still pending that final score from Bennett Long on the pommel horses. Top to bottom, it was a strong pommel horse for both teams really, but Iowa is going to be looking at a really, really good score.
Definitely those consistent 13s are what you're really looking for on a horse.
Long score comes in to 13-7, so 66-4 as a team is just over a point better than Illinois put up. Stuart Brown finishing up on the pommel horses, the extra, as we still wait for the floor routine for Illinois' Connor McCool. McCool and then Fletcher that will finish things off And Michael Fletcher is going to anchor that. It's just one of those dudes, to say the least. Missed last season due to an injury after a star freshman year. He was Big Ten first team and freshman of the year in 2019 before an injury kept him out. Huge returner for an Illinois team that's looking to make an NCAA run. But here's Connor McCool first. He was a floor star in the shortened 2020 season. He was a regular season All-American. He was a 14-8 career high.
Big 3.5 punch out. Don't see many of those. Strong cut, double, into a stick. Looking like go far. Looking very confident. Very strong pass there into his stick. Another thing you don't see all that frequently, a butterfly, fulfilling the non-macro requirements. Very strong routine, controlling those landings. Should be a big score if he can finish well. And he did.
Beautiful stick on the end from Connor McCool.
Great routine.
That's a follow-up man bombs, 13.65. That's the highest on the floor for Illinois. And bring it home at the end for Illinois. Just waiting Michael Fletcher, who will be next after we get that score from McCool. That's a big 1-2 punch at the end with an All-American and a star that's returning from an injury. And Michael Fletcher. 134.8, that's the score for Iowa through 2 rotations. They put up a 66.4 on the pommel horse. Illinois 117.85. Still pending some scores here on the floor. Right now through 2 rotations, it seems the Hawkeyes might have a slight lead.
That 66.4 is going to be very helpful for them. I believe Illinois has the 4th highest pommel horse score as of last weekend. So being able to top that is going to be big for the Hawkeyes.
Stuart Brown's extra is an 11.35, and here's Addison Chung on the pommel horse.
Strong flop sequence from Chung here. Into the travels. Looking a bit fatigued, but still staying on.
Veteran all-arounder. You learn how to push through when you've been around the block a few times.
Definitely. Another hit routine for the Hawkeyes.
Hawkeyes send 8 on the pommel horse and a really strong anchor 6 for Iowa. As we still wait, Michael Fletcher, the final of the 6, the anchor for the Illinois Fighting Illini. The cool score likely to come in just a moment. Big, powerful routine from Connor McCool as they put that score up on the manual board. 14.25, that's the score for Connor McCool. That's right now the floor lead across all teams.
That's going to be big for the Illini.
And here's Fletcher, the anchor.
Nice double full punch full. Coming off the ACL surgery last year. It's impressive that he's back doing all this. Pretty clean routine so far.
There's the pass from Fletcher.
Oh, not sure if that was meant to be a triple fold, but ended up being a double fold, which is going to lower the value of the routine, but also coming out of the surgery, not sure the plan there. Other than that, though, strong, solid routine to finish off the Illini.
Michael Fletcher, the anchor for Illinois, ends things off as right now 134-8 for Iowa is the lead, 142-1 for Illinois. We get that final score in. Looks like an extra one. There's Logan Meyers is going to compete all around, but not count towards the team score in the individual events, but his all-around score will count. Myers had an 8.55 on the pommel horse, falling off a pair of times and laboring through a dismount. A 134.9 for Iowa. That's the number adjusted. An extra 10th gets tacked on. Still waiting for Fletcher. Iowa's next rotation will be the rings. That's where they're posted. As still finishing up on the floor is Illinois. So the Hawkeyes win on the pommel horse, might win on the floor by a fraction of a point, but still waiting on that final scoring from the anchor, Michael Fletcher. You mentioned coming off that ACL surgery. It's tough to come back from ACL surgery in any sport, but nonetheless a sport that is bouncy and requires that strength to land.
Oh, definitely. Especially with those lower leg surgeries, you know, it's so difficult coming back to, especially tumbling events. I myself tore my Achilles back in 2018 and never really got back to floor vault. And it's tough, definitely, getting back all the way. So that's an impressive feat from Fletcher. Strong double-double to start. Bit of a low landing.
Fletcher comes in as a 13-6 on the floor, and his return ends as a 67-8-5 for Illinois. Slip and a fall from Myers there. So Illinois at 132-1, trailing by 2.8 points through two rotations.
Tough routine from Myers so far.
Freshman trying to find his footing around in the Big Ten. Morrison, Colorado native. Collects in the pass.
Finishing with the double Arabian. Cohen does not see, but lands it on his feet.
Looks like that will end the second rotation. It does. So a 134.9 for Iowa. They lead by 2.8 over Illinois, 132.1. We'll go to rotation 3. We'll step away for a few minutes. This is Big Ten Gymnastics. Third rotation from Carver Hawkeye Arena. Your score through a pair. It's 134.9 for the Iowa Hawkeyes and 133.35 for Illinois. As the final Illini on the vault with Dylan Kolak, and that's where we'll start.
Strong two rotations from both these teams, keeping it toe-to-toe.
Kolak has competed earlier today, was on the floor with a 13.05. The vault is one of those quicker ones, the quicker event compared to what we've seen with the floor and the pommel horse. The floor routine takes the longest for sure, one of those expressive ones, and to showcase a lot of skills. Here's Kolak, his halt.
Strong double full to start. Small hop at the end. Ruben Anderson on rings. Specialist on this event.
Competed in every meet for Iowa last year. Career high 13.45.
Very strong individual.
The strength to do this is definitely high. I think for someone who's casually watching, you don't realize how you have to stabilize those rings too. They move.
Oh yeah.
They don't stay there.
Big step at the end, but strong routine to start off with. Also coming off of a bit of an elbow injury.
Certainly that's one that'll impact your strength, obviously, to keep yourself up. And we'll go to the ball now. And then Skirky.
Casimir full with the fall at the end. Just difficult on vault.
To get a score in just before that, Kolak a 14.15 and Skirky with that big stumble at the end. Still waiting that score on the rings from Ruben Anderson. Two top 10 teams doing battle. This is not the first time these two teams have faced off. Illinois leads the all-time series 166-82 with one tie. These two teams have faced over 240 times through a very long, storied programs. And unfortunately, this will be the last season for now of Iowa men's gymnastics, given some serious bargaining. Got that news in the summer this year, the last year for men's gymnastics, men's tennis, as well as swimming and diving, and a tough send-away year with no fans.
Such a heartbreaking thing to go through.
Especially, I mentioned only 3 seniors for the Iowa team, so it's a young team that's trying to mesh together as a fall on the vault there from Diab.
It's going to be tough for the Illini. 2 back-to-back falls on vault, which is relatively unheard of.
12.75 from Skirky and another fall there. Ruben Anderson, an 11.95 on the rings for the Iowa Hawkeyes, which will set the stage for Stuart Brown. Stuart Brown competed in every event except pommel horse last meet. Had a career high floor with a 14.1 last week and did well today, not well on the floor. The junior put up a 13.5 and now steps to the rings to follow up Anderson's 11.95.
Definitely have seen Brown improve a lot. Very clean gymnast. One of the big things you're looking for on the rings is holding those static strength elements for 3 seconds. And if you don't, it's a deduction.
Just got Diab's vault in a 13.55 and a strong landing.
All right, fans, let's hear for Stuart Brown.
Very clean routine, start dismount, it's going to be a good score.
3 vaults for the Illini, a 14.15 for Kodak, 12.75 for Skirky, D a 13.55. It'll be Bennett Long after Stuart Brown's score comes in. Connor McCool, a 13.6 on the vault, and now it's Logan Meyers. We'll key in on that.
Strong double full from Myers. It's going to definitely help the ball rotation for the Illini. So we're looking for low 14 to mid 14s on ball, and having put up multiple mid 13s is going to be tough for their
He's a little gimpy.
final.
Down now there on the side, grabbing at his lower leg, stretching that out. Might have tweaked something on that land. It looked like he might have stuck it, but might have rolled over on his ankle on that land. As the trainer goes down, young freshman competing all around today. I mentioned just a very powerful, raw freshman that's going to develop certainly with that coaching staff at Illinois, a really strong coaching staff led by Justin Spring in his 12th season. Evan Manavong, the anchor on the vault.
Strong 2.5. Looked like he slipped a little bit there on the table. Not getting quite the height that he probably wanted, forcing him to take a big step back and going to be big deduction.
Myers a 13.85. We're now in the rings. Bennett Long after Stuart Brown's 12.95.
Very solid handstand position there for Bennett. Clean swing elements.
Yes, ma'am.
Big finish from Bennett. Huge for the Hawkeyes. Definitely feel the energy from them.
You can tell this is what they want. You got a couple weeks off. You get a little fired up to compete when you have to sit on your hands for a week.
Definitely. There he is ringing that bell for the stuck landing.
Extra vault for Illinois. A big stumble and a fall there from Michael Fletcher.
It's definitely tough going into one of the hardest vaults that you're going to be seeing on a collegiate level, at 2.5. Definitely protecting his ACO with that one.
Especially when you haven't seen a whole lot of competition coming off that surgery. You're a little gun shy, something anybody who's gone through an injury like that knows. You're a little hesitant that first few times out there until you begin to trust it.
Right.
And even then, sometimes you still don't, it feels a little stiff. You're not always 100%. So
Yeah.
you definitely hope the best for someone who is a star freshman, that he can recover and bring back what was the flavor and flair of a good freshman campaign.
I actually grew up with him and went to the same club gym, so I've known him for a long time. He's a very good gymnast, and very excited to see where this goes.
Definitely a bright future as a 13.25 on the vault from Fletcher. James Friedman is next on the rings for Iowa, pending that score from Blanc. Vault scores for Illinois is 69.45 as a unit. But it's Manavong with a 14.3 to lead the way. Kolak 14.15. Logan Meyers a 13.85. Connor McCool a 13.6. Max Diab a 13.55. Fletcher in the extra spot a 13.25. And Ian Skirky a 12.75. Certainly like to see a little more 14s if you're Illinois.
Definitely. typically looking at or above 70 scoring for a ball rotation, so that sub 70s not ideal for them, especially with a lineup that is typically so strong.
Especially working from that hole, you'd want to pick up points where you're eventually the strongest, and it's a strong ball squad like you mentioned, but here's Friedman on the rings after Huang's strong 13-3.
Very nice playing position from Friedman. Such a clean gymnast. Great lines, great holds.
A lot of strength displayed in the dismount.
Oh, that's tough.
Especially after such a good routine.
I believe that he upgraded that dismount from last time. Definitely something that's going to go back and hone in on.
When you're putting together a routine, this is something you might know, when you're putting together a routine, how much focus do you put on that in the off season, and do you change that up too often when you get into the season, or do you really try to hone that in and nail it down?
Typically the bulk of the skill work is done pre-season and during the summer. That's where you really try and get those new skills, and once season comes around, you're really focused in on eliminating possibilities for deduction. If there's a couple skills here and there that you can pick up consistently and they improve the routine, they'll typically get thrown in, but that's not that common. Typically once you get into season, you got this routine and you're just going week by week trying to improve.
Commit that to muscle memory essentially, and
right.
Feel like you can do it in your sleep.
Definitely.
Evan Davis will be fifth on the rings for Iowa after we get Friedman's score. So it looks like they're putting that score up on that manual board, and we'll turn that our way in just a moment. Illinois 202.8 halfway home. And a 12.55 for Friedman. At dismount, cost him probably would have been a 13 plus, so.
Definitely.
And now here's Davis on the rings for Iowa, the all-arounder, looking to build on that 78 from 2 weeks ago.
Strong Azarian to cross. Went to an upright plant. Strong hold on both these strengths.
Had a 13.85 against Minnesota, so led the way for the Hawkeyes for the highest score.
Such a great all-around gymnast. Davis is very consistent on every event. Big dismount. Davis fired up after that routine, bringing back the morale after the fall from Friedman.
Evan Davis, the all-arounder, one of the many for Iowa today. Range score so far for the Hawkeyes, that was number 5, still waiting that, but Bennett Huang with 13.3, the best for Iowa. Stuart Brown, 12.95, James Friedman, 12.55, and Ruben Anderson, 11.95, and that one from Davis will be the 5th score, and it's going to be Peyton Hobson, a 13 flat on the rings. Hobson will anchor for Iowa and the rings rotation. Didn't see a lot of time last year, only one meet, but had a 12-4 on the rings at Oklahoma. And the score coming our way, 13-4 for for Evan Davis.
Solid mid-13. Typically what you're looking for at these events.
Here's the Oregon native Hobson.
Strong upright plant to bounce cross. And do a swing sequence. Picking up a little sway on those rings is going to be a deduction. And see if you can fill a swing on this one.
Oh, technical difficulties.
Start on the vault, already geared up.
James Freeman, big double pull, small hop, good ball to lead off. Should be a very good rotation for the Hawkeyes. One of the highest scores posted this season on vault with the 71-3, I believe.
You'd like to see something like that again as Illinois going sub-70. You're JD Reed, you've got a legit chance to pick up some points now as Illinois over on the reins. It's Jordan Kovach, first time competing today. The senior rig specialist for Illinois. We'll quickly go to Bennett Huang, who's on the vault for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Your Chenko style vault, the double full. Low landing and a big step forward for Bennett.
Friedman with the 13.85 leadoff.
Solid start for the ball rotation. These next few vaults are definitely going to be the ones that are higher scoring. Starting off with Carter Tope. He does what he did in warm-up. Super hard 2.5. And everyone following him that I believe will be doing the same as well.
The Hawkeyes had 4 14-plus scores on the vault for the last meet against Minnesota. Here is Tope to follow the 13.75 from Huang.
Touch on the side there. Not sure if the judges caught that and will take a point deduction for a fall.
It is interesting because, obviously, I mentioned it here for women's gymnastics earlier, they have judges on both sides. One judge on one side, one judge on the other, but now for men's, they're both on the same side, so you might be able to get away with a slight tap to keep yourself up, but I don't think Tope got away with that one. We'll see that score in just a moment. Kovach on the rings at a 13.5. That'll go over there now for Hamish Carter. We'll end up coming back momentarily for Sewell's vault, but Hamish Carter over on the rings and all-arounder. 5 all-around titles in his career.
Very strong upright plank to start the routine.
Carter's still over on the rings, but Sewell's got the green flag to go. Tope 13-1. A hand on the mat. Cost him a bit.
Big 2.5 from Sewell. Huge vault, small hop at the end. That's going to be a big score. They're fired up about that one.
Talked about that bounce from Sewell a couple times, and even with that height, vault's not always the easiest for guys with that height, but when you've got the bounce that he's got, you certainly help yourself out as Carter on that dismount. The Hawkeyes with 40 points on the vault so far, waiting what should be a strong score from Sewell. And it is a 14-5 for Mari Sewell.
Huge score. She could follow up something similar. Big 2.5 and down. Doesn't quite get it around.
Some miscues on the vault for both teams. It's tough for Iowa trying to capitalize on that sub 70 after you mentioned putting up a 71. And today just a few struggles, but it's so early in the year. This is your chance now to kind of get those kinks out and figure out what you need to work on specifically when in the shortened season though, Big Tens, NCAA's not too far around the corner.
Right.
Feels weird to say we're already in February, Valentine's Day tomorrow. We've only had, between these two teams, a combined 4 meets.
Yeah. Definitely difficult being this far into the year and not having too much competition experience under your belt.
Kalani Taylor, the anchor on the vault for Iowa.
Stuck double full after what looked like a 4 entry to the table. Pulls it around and sticks it though.
Right near that line, but a big vault on the Iowa Hawkeyes when they need it the most. So the 6 vaulters and the scores are registered done for Iowa. Still only got now 2 scores. It's Joel Diaz that is now on the rings. As Taylor rings the bell with a stuck landing. So 12-8 for Carter, following the 13-5 for Kovac.
That big stump out of the dismount for Carter is definitely not helping that score.
Will be an extra vault for Iowa. Seven Davis competing all around.
Super hard double full. Difficult to tell from where I am if he stepped over that line or not.
Certainly close, but still good end for Iowa after some stumbles in the middle. Taylor, that's why you're the anchor. A 13-9-5, you stick the landing to bring it home, and
Definitely.
some momentum swings going into what will be the 5th rotation in a few minutes, but Illinois still on the rings, one of those events that takes a few minutes. So Iowa on the vault, team score 69-4-5, and I believe that was right at Illinois' score, so
Yeah.
couldn't quite capitalize on what was a sub 70, and both teams put it up, and Hawkeyes got a bit of a hole to climb out of now with sub 70. And the rings do matter still for Illinois. Pretty good start, but Carter left something to be desired on that landing. About to get that score from Diaz and Logan Meyers, who looked like he tweaked his lower leg on the vault. Will go to the rings next once we get that score for Illinois. So 270.15 for Iowa through 4 rotations. Just the 2 bars to go, parallel bars and high bar left. So much to judge on the rings. That's why it takes a little longer. It's not quite like vault where you've got your scores, you deduct a few from there. There's a lot more technicality to the rings, a lot more to display.
Definitely. You got this 10 skill routine, and you can get something off on all those skills. A little bit different than vault where you got 3 main parts. You got pre-flight, you got the table, and then landing.
Diaz a 13.35 sets the table for Meyers.
There's that classic upright planche that you see a lot of these guys do. Strong handstand from Meyers.
Stuck dismount.
Stuck double. That was a very clean routine. We're fired up about that one.
Might have been gimpy on that late on the vault, but covered fine, and big stuck landing on the rings for Logan Meyers. It's 2 left for Illinois on the rings with Fletcher and Graham. Danny Graham and Michael Fletcher. Take a look at some all-around scores so far. Evan Davis for Iowa with a 54.85 leading the way. Bennett Wong right behind him, a 54.75. Stuart Brown, 50.8. Carter Tope tied with him as well with a 58. Logan Meyers competing all around as well, had an 8.55 on the pommel horse, and that ring score will be a bit of a boost after a rough pommel horse. Michael Fletcher, the other all-arounder for Illinois, is to pick up some lost points elsewhere. The 5th rotation for Iowa will be the parallel bars, which leaves the high bar for Illinois, and they'll flip for the 6th and final. So we're about to get that score for Meyers. A 12.95 is the score for Meyers on the rings. Puts his all around just north of 47, right around 48.
Strong start for Fletcher so far. Good low on those swing elements, called Yamawakis. Very clean routine so far. A little hops and a step on that dismount. And tight down. It's going to be really hefty deduction on that dismount. But other than that, very clean routine. Solid holds. Clean swing elements. Not much more you could ask for in a routine.
Just leaves the anchor left for Illinois and Danny Graham. This is his big event, redshirt senior, Hinsdale Central High School in Clarendon Hills, Illinois. He's got 7 individual titles in the rings in his career, and last season, before the season was cut short, was ranked best in the nation on the rings. So 5th-year senior going to get a chance to shine and bring up a pretty good end to the rotation on the rings. A lot of high 12s, a couple mid 13s for Illinois, looking to extend their lead. Michael Fletcher, I mentioned, the other all-arounder besides Logan Meyers for Illinois. So we'll get that score for Fletcher and add it to his all-around, and then all the others will be through 4. when you're JD Reeve and you're Iowa and you kind of lack the depth that Illinois does, how important is it to have those strong all-arounders, the four of them that Iowa does?
I mean, that's really crucial to the makeup of lineups. Being able to count on those all-arounders for a consistent routine in one of those spots is huge.
So here is Graham on the rings. Fletcher, a 13 even on his routine.
Ron Kazarian's Maltese to start. Very similar type skill. It's a kipped Maltese. Big show of strength so far in this routine.
One of the strongest, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country. So much body control.
Very solid so far. Holding all the positions in 3 seconds and at the proper height.
Graham's season high on the rings of 14.2, a career high of 14.55. As he gears for the dismount. Small hop.
Bit of a simpler dismount than we've seen other guys do, but when you've got those big strength elements, kind of makes up for easier dismount.
So Graham ends things off for Illinois on the rings as a strong start as we're coming down the home stretch. The final two rotations are coming up shortly. 270.15 Iowa and Illinois 268.4. Still pending that final score with Graham, so we'll keep it here until we get that. No extra competitors on the rings for Illinois, so once we get that score, we'll take our break. Got a back and forth contest going on right now as we come down the home stretch. Michael Fletcher's all-around score now 52.85. That's the third best. Evan Davis still leads the way. Two points up on that, 52.85 and the 54.85. We still, again, await the score from Danny Graham on the rings. Iowa will be on the parallel bars, and it's going to be Illinois on the high bars. We'll take a step away as we're about to get that score for you right now as they're putting it up on the manual scoreboard. So not started that rotation period as we await the score, and it's in as a 14-1 for Danny Graham. So Illinois down by less than a point, 271.5 Iowa, Illinois 269.7. We've just got two rotations left. We'll step away, come back in a few minutes. This is Big Ten Gymnastics on BTN Plus. Fifth rotation from Carver Hawkeye Arena. John Rawson alongside Nick Merriman as Iowa and Illinois, a top 10 duel going toe-to-toe. Iowa 270.15 has the lead, but slightly on Illinois with a 269.9. As we go into the fifth rotation, Iowa on the parallel bars and Illinois on the high bars.
Two teams keeping it really close. Definitely going to come down to these last two rotations and who can keep the energy.
Both these teams left points on the vault that we mentioned. Two teams that are consistent, 70-plus scores as a unit. Both went below 69.5. So it means there's some points to make up. As you mentioned, it really does come down to these two teams how they do on their respective bars, as it's Friedman to lead things off on the parallel bars for Iowa.
Sean Keeley twirls to start off the routine. Good throw on that piece to handstand. One of those events where really looking at handstand positioning, really minimizing those shifts in hands. That's going to be a big deduction there from not being able to get the handstand all the way.
This is Friedman's first time on the parallel bars this season.
double pike to finish, small hop. Not the routine that he was looking for, I can tell, but his first time competing, parallel bars, kind of consider it a hit. Gonna need to definitely pick it up with the rest of the guys though.
Manabong for Illinois on the high bar stuck his landing. That was the ruckus you heard from the Illinois bench, fired up as Manabong had a 13.6 on the floor, 6.5, 13.65 on the floor, and like we're gonna see a good high bar score. It's Logan Meyers that will go next for Illinois, as looks to be Hobson that will go next on the parallel bars for Iowa. Hobson did compete in the parallel bars against Minnesota with a 12-1.
Parallel bars is definitely an event that the Hawkeyes are lacking depth on this year. How many replacements available?
65-3 as a unit on the parallel bars against Minnesota. Led the way by Carter Tope, 13-9 at 3 of the 6 and 13s. But you mentioned it's the depth. The top is good, but below that, they're trying to find someone who can hit that 13s. Zach Peterman a 12-5, but a 12-1 from Hobson and 11-7 from Davis. Still waiting for scores for both competitors that led off for their respective teams. Manabong for Illinois on the high bar, and Friedman on the parallel bars for the Iowa Hawkeyes. The score did change for Iowa, which means we're likely going to see that score rotate towards us as Hobson has the flag ready to go. And 11.55 is the number that turns for Friedman.
Like I said, definitely not the score they were looking for, but get the Joeys out of the freshman from there and throughout the season.
We did get the score for Manabong at 12-9 on the high bar.
Pretty solid routine from Hobson there.
We'll go over to the high bar now as it's Kovac.
Big release coming.
Kovac pretty versatile for Illinois. Stars on the vault, but a lot of athleticism to him, can step into whatever's needed by Justin Spring.
Gearing up for the dismount here. Double-double with a small step. Very solid routine.
So 12-9 leadoff for Manabong. Kovac follows strong. It'll be Myers, Logan Meyers up next, the freshman for Illinois. That's the 3 spot on the high bar. Still waiting Hobson's score on the parallel bars. As it'll be Bennett Huang that goes next. An 11.55 from Friedman. That bottom end of the order, though, for Iowa is where they're going to make their money with Tope as well in there, and Evan Davis, who he can step into a strong performance to really help out the Hawkeye rotation.
Yeah, and definitely can't forget about Stuart Brown, All-American last year. Such a great routine. That's Bennett Long. the handstand a little bit short of where he wanted it to be.
Got a 12-2 from Hobson on the parallel bars for Iowa.
Struggle a little bit to get in that handstand there. There we go. Stuck double pike from Bennett Long. That's definitely going to be big for them in their momentum. Trying to get them swinging back towards hip routines, solid hip routines.
So Bennett Long will get a ring the bell on a stuck dismount. Had a few points. And now we'll go to the high bar for Logan Meyers. His Kovac score comes in at 12-8, so back-to-back high 12s on the high bar for Illinois.
Big releases to start off Myers' routine, following into some spinning elements and into the dismount now. Lay double, just short of a landing. A relatively clean routine. They hit. You're gonna be happy with that one.
Freshman Myers has only one more event to compete. It's completely all around. Tim and Fletcher, the two all-arounders for Illinois. Fletcher, Carter, and Dylan Kolak, the final three in the rotation for Illinois on the high bar, as Carter Tope still waiting the flag to go ahead. It'll be Tope, Brown, Davis to end things off for Iowa on the parallel bars. .295.6 for Illinois, 293.9 for the Iowa Hawkeyes. So we're about halfway through rotation 5. Third athlete for Illinois just went on the high bar, and the third parallel bar athlete for Iowa just went in Bennett Huang. So now we're just waiting for the scores to officially mark the halfway point of rotation 5. And we're just a couple minutes away from 8 o'clock on the dial, as it's about to get really cold in Iowa City coming down the night. But here's Carter Tope on the parallel bars for Iowa.
Good peach handstand to start the routine. Right into the bobs are. Very strong parallel bar worker.
Young sophomore of 13-9 his last time out against Minnesota. It was a 13.05 for Bennett Long, so north of 13 for Iowa certainly helps switch the momentum.
Very solid routine so far from Carter. Right into the double pike. Small hop. That's going to be a big score. Definitely hoping to continue swing that rotate, swing the momentum towards them.
Switching over now to the high bar.
Fletcher with the big releases. Up the dismount. Strong leg, half. Small hop at the end.
So Logan Meyers, the 12.75, 3 straight high 12s, and now we'll wait that score for Michael Fletcher, as Stuart Brown will go as number 5 for Iowa, pending Tope's score. Iowa and Illinois toe-to-toe right now. It is very likely going to come down to the 6th and final rotation for these two teams. And it was the high bar where Iowa really struggled at a 63.85. It was their second lowest scoring behind Pommel Horse, but it is one of the more difficult and lower scoring events.
That's right.
Illinois on that scoring when it comes to that high bar is second in the nation. 13-9 from Tope. That is a big score that you mentioned. Huge for Iowa.
Very clean routine so far from Stuart Brown. Such a beautiful routine that he does. Very good. That's what they're looking for.
Back-to-back big parallel bars. A 13-8 from Tope, likely a high score coming for Stuart Brown to set up the anchor, Evan Davis.
Those type of routines towards the end of the meet are so crucial. You know, being able to fire the rest of your team like that is something that's really helpful.
Hamish Carter slated to go next on the high bar after we get that score for Illinois. Bennett Long, a 67-8 leads the way for the all-around. We get a 12-7 for Fletcher on the high bar. That puts his all-around at 65.55. We'll go to Hamish Carter on the high bar for Illinois.
All-American on this event a couple years ago.
2019 Big Ten high bar champ and All-American.
That's one of those flaws you see going on where you get these big releases that are really difficult to do, and you have this risk of not catching.
So tough fall for a veteran, and as you mentioned, All-American just 2 years ago. Didn't get the chance to be really All-American last year, compete in the NCAAs. Go to the parallel bars for Evan Davis, the anchor for the Iowa Hawkeyes. It was a 13-8 for Brown, back-to-back 13-8s for Iowa. That's big after a bit of a slow start.
Strong heel work from Davis here. Bit short that those to handstand. Big double pike. Good prep for landing with a small hop forward. It's a good hit routine.
Definitely a good bounce back routine.
Definitely. Those past three routines are going to be helping the Hawkeyes substantially.
An 11-7 last time out for Davis. He bounces back with a nice one there. And you mentioned back-to-back 13-8s, another high one after a bit of a slow start. It's really going to be huge for Iowa's. Right now, they've got a lead, but still pending some scores coming from the high bar, or a score behind, still waiting. Hamish Carter's, unfortunately, his fall is going to cost him some. And the last one, the anchor for Illinois, is Dylan Cohen. Big vaulter, floor man, but stepping into some new roles. Iowa improved to the first five all the way through, an 11-5-5 for Friedman, ending with back-to-back 13-8s, and we'll see that final one from Davis, likely in between Long and the Tope Brown combo. If you're JD Reed, you got to be happy that you get the freshman Friedman out on the bars, puts an 11-5-5, and it doesn't hurt you still get good performances from the back end.
Definitely.
And that's why you've got the veterans there. You put them there to bring you home.
Right, that consistency from Tope and Brown is really relied upon.
And a 13-3-5 in between, as I mentioned, that Long and Tope Brown combo. A good end for Iowa, 4 straight over 13.
Big Akasha release. One arm giant.
Kolak, a really strong athlete. Got a lot of bounce to him. As I mentioned, though, he's trying to work into some of those strength elements. His ability to land will help him in this event.
Play half into a small hop. Very controlled routine.
Bringing it home here on BTN Plus, coming down to the wire. It's going to come down to this final go-around, the 6th and final rotation, as Iowa will go to the high bar and Illinois to the parallel bars. We'll keep it with you until we get that final score. But Iowa puts up a 66-2 on the parallel bars at best. Their start to the year where they had a 65-3. And a Dylan Kolak final still waiting on the high bar for Illinois, but a good routine so far. 64, north of 64 is going to leave something for Iowa to climb out of it. Likely need a 2-point cushion for Iowa to feel comfortable, but I don't think they're going to get it, and it's going to be a fun last rotation coming down to see who pulls this one out.
Oh, it definitely will be.
Number 10, Iowa. Number 4, Illinois. Really the first big test for Iowa. Minnesota, a good team, but 12th, and now you get to see a top 5 team. You'll get to see number 1 Penn State next week, and this is your chance to prove yourself if you're Iowa. And your final go-around as a program, this year feels like a little bit more maybe than
Oh yeah, it definitely does. It really is.
J.D. Reeves been with the Iowa Hawkeyes for quite some time now. He's working into his 10th season, led Iowa to a Big Ten regular season title in 2019. As we're about to get that score from Kolak as the timer started for that break period, as Iowa getting set for the high bar, Minnesota Illinois getting set for the parallel bars. We're about to get that score turned to us at 12-4-5 for Fletcher. So Iowa 336.35, Illinois trails by 2, 334.25. It comes down to the 6th and final rotation. We'll see you in 2 minutes. This is Big Ten Gymnastics on BTN Plus. Coming down the home stretch, 6th and final rotation between the Iowa Hawkeyes and Illinois Fighting Illini as the 10th ranked Hawkeyes. Just a slim lead, just over 2 points, 2.1 over the Illinois Fighting Illini, as the Hawkeyes will be on the high bar and Illinois on the parallel bars. This is both of these teams' weaker events. It's going to come down to which one can overperform more.
This is really just going to come down to, like you said, hitting routines and hitting them cleanly, because at this point, every 10th really counts. Very solid routine from Bennett Wong so far.
Lead off on the high bar for Iowa, all-around competitor today.
Prepping for that dismount. Lay half-half. You know, hop at the end, but that's a hit routine and it's all very clean. Gonna be a good lead-off score.
Long got a 13-3 on the high bar last time out. Now we're over to the parallel bars for the freshman Logan Meyers, finishing up his all-around competition today.
Ooh, looks like he hit the floor on that swing skill. We had trouble getting back up to the handstand. Floor again, and seems like there's some sort of issue that he's having.
Did seem a little bit hurt after the vault, tweaked his left ankle, and that's what he's down with on the trainers. Might have re-aggravated something, hit it a little weird when he hit that floor.
Continue with the team though. Gets through that time.
Myers the leadoff for Illinois. This is an important position, and depending on his score, might leave his teammates to clean it up a little bit. Try to come from behind already.
Double front dismount, a bit too short to pull it around to his feet. Tough routine to start with.
Especially trailing by 2 points. You mentioned every 10th matters, and you're going to leave a few points on the board there. Just going to need basically something like that to happen on the Iowa end. And there's Stuart Brown for Iowa.
Very solid routine so far. A bit far on that release there, kind of what we call fingertipping it. Also coming out a little bit flat on that ad lift. Leg half, with a small step. It's a hit routine.
It was a 12.95 from Bennett Huang, meaning his all-around day is done, an 80.75 for the senior from Palo Alto, which is just a bit better than his 84.5 against Minnesota, so improvement early in the year for the senior trying to round out his final year. Still waiting Logan Meyers' score on the parallel bars. This could be big make or break point for Illinois. If this score is too low, it's they don't control their own destiny in a sense. It's going to come down to an Iowa miscue.
Right.
It's a pair for Iowa that are specialists in this event where it's where they make their money.
Also puts a lot of pressure on the other Illinois guys. If you count on dropping that one score, everyone else has to hit.
It's Alexander Walther that will go in the 3 spot. It's back-to-back specialists, Walther and Scigliano for Iowa. Walther at a 12.45 on the high bar against Minnesota. And we do have the score for Myers at 10.55. And a 12.8 for Stuart Brown on the high bar. Back-to-back good high bars for Iowa when they needed it.
Yep.
Seems like it's going to be tough for Iowa to lose this one right now, but don't want to jinx anything yet. Got to finish strong with the final 4 on the high bar.
Right, it can all change on a dime. Good lynch there from Walther. Right into the one-arm giant. Zuliman is what it's called. You know, this event's all about hitting those handstand angles and catching those releases, so Walter's doing a great job with that so far. Finishing up the way half stuck dismount.
That's a huge routine. You can see how fired up he is.
Oh yeah.
So after a 12.45 last week, or 2 weeks ago, he's likely going to improve on that with a huge routine for Iowa. So they try to bring this one home. It's Mistretta that just finished up for Minnesota on the parallel bars. But Alexander Walther with a huge stick on the dismount for the Iowa Hawkeyes, the junior from Chanhassen, Minnesota. His career high bar is 13.2. He's going to be right at that mark, probably better than that. He might have a career high today, but it's going to be close.
Around there, yeah. Yeah, definitely Hawkeyes are picking up that energy. You can see it just in, everyone else down there. It's a bit infectious.
Yeah, they're smelling the blood in the water now after a couple tough parallel bar scores for Illinois. They've got a good opportunity here to be the 4th-ranked team in the nation and start 2-0, beating a pair of top 15 teams before they face number 1 Penn State. And you can't ask for much more if you win this one. You get big momentum, and you feel like you left points on the board too. You had some opportunities on vault. Mistretta at 12.85 on the parallel bars as Iowa's widened their gap. And Scigliano, the Des Moines, Iowa native from Dowling Catholic, about 50 minutes from where I grew up.
13-1 from Walter.
So close to
that career high.
Just a 10th short. But still a big one. And timely, very timely performance from Walter for Iowa.
It definitely is.
11-9 on the high bar for Scigliano last time out.
Scigliano is also actually coming from an ACL surgery. Very solid team so far. Such great lines from Scigliano when making sure he's hitting those handstands. Big finish from him. That's great to see. Another hit routine.
4 strong high bars for Iowa. As it seems like Graham just finished up on the parallel bars, which leaves the table for Kovac. Right now, Iowa trying to put the nails in the coffin on Illinois to round things out today at a 2+ point lead, a 2.1 point lead. Coming down to the 6th and final rotation, and they have only widened that gap now. Just a pair of competitors left to go on the high bar. It's just Evan Davis and Carter Tope, the 2 all-arounders. We do have some finals for some all-around competitors. I mentioned Huang with his 80.75. Stuart Brown, 77.4. Logan Meyers, 70.15. Myers is really up and down today. Sputtered a bit on pommel horse and parallel bars, but a strong vault and a good high bar and some rings. So you got to feel good about that if you're Justin Spring. You know what you need to work on now.
Yeah, and that's the thing with all-arounders too. Some of them are very consistent, make their teams on all the events, and then there's others where they'll be lower scoring on these and then higher scoring on others. It all kind of varies person to person.
Scigliano a 13 even. So Evan Davis will be up next for Iowa after that big 13 from Scigliano, and it's high 12s and low 13s across the board.
Starting off, Milwaukee release, a little close to the bar on it. Full Takamoto.
Davis on a 13 even on the high bar last time. This rounds out his all-around performance. A good score here could put him north of 8.
Finishing with dismount, lay half stuck. Great routine from Davis.
Big money for Evan Davis as the Hawkeyes right now seem to have this one in pretty good control, as Davis will very likely surpass 80 on the day and might win the all-around title.
I'm very happy with that. Those last couple routines of that rotation.
Davis will go over to ring the bell as he fires up the maybe 60 or so people in attendance tonight. And you sense the energy is fully switched to Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
And it started from the very beginning. a good performance from Huang, and that's why you have a veteran starter. You've got a 12-9 father to start from a senior, and the freshman Meyers sputters a bit on the parallel bars, and this is what happens, and it's gonna be a big win for Iowa to be the top 5 team.
It will. And that's definitely one of the things that I've seen this team improve on these past couple years, is really staying in the meet until the very end. And it's difficult for the other team too, where you have this energy from the other team and you're making mistakes, but you see the other team doing really well, and that's something that Iowa has really improved on, and it's been really crucial in their success.
Even with a limited crowd, this is a sport where your team energy matters so much, and that's something we've seen with a lot of sports this year. Is your bench and the energy and culture that your team has matters so much.
Oh, yeah.
And in a year like this, the culture really couldn't be stronger, and we're seeing that as Tope will end things off after Davis's 13-5.
Big score for Davis.
That's going to give an 81-7 all around. That's pretty much a guarantee to be the all-around title winner.
Another stuck dismount from the Hawkeyes. Carter Tope fired up.
Huge way to end for Iowa.
Great meet today.
Bringing it home, it's Hamish Carter, the 5th competitor on the parallel bars for Illinois, as the Hawkeyes have this one all but finished. A 400-plus score for the Hawkeyes. They won to start off the season against Minnesota, put up 393, and they're going to best that one by just under 10.
Oh, yeah. That 400 plus is very key early in the season. You know, show that you're competitive, especially with other teams like Illinois.
Tope will ring the bell and sound out his all-around as the bell is rung as Carter gets set to dismount on the parallel bars, as the Hawkeyes have this one pretty much all been wrapped up. Might see an exhibition on the high bar as Carter finishes out his routine. So it'll be an extra high bar for the Iowa Hawkeyes after we get the score from Carter Tope, as the Hawkeyes put up over 400 in today's meet. A big score for Iowa as they get set to take on number 1 Penn State on February 20th. And the last competitor on the parallel bars is Michael Fletcher, but it's Mikey Kogan on the high bar after Tope's 13-1.
Solid Yamawaki to start off for Kogan. Right into a top shift. I'm a little bit short on that full Takamoto. Having to readjust and change direction, which is going to also be a deduction. That's tough. So close to the end of the routine.
The youngster, Mikey Kogan, freshman from Hawthorne Woods, Illinois, and vaulted in his debut with a 12-8, having some opportunity to compete in some other events as the exhibition on the high bar.
He's also got, I believe, a year out of hip surgery. So, yeah, had a bit of struggle coming back from that, but great to see him working these things again. Lay half to finish for the Hawkeyes. Just short of landing, but
All in all, if you're Iowa, he'll take this performance top to bottom. Right now on the board, a 402 flat as Michael Fletcher, the anchor on the parallel bars, and will end his all-around competition today. We'll run you through some high scores today. On the vault, it was Amari Sewell's 14.5 that led the way. Carter Tope on the parallel bar was a 13.8. The only person left to beat him would possibly be Michael Fletcher. On the high bar, Evan Davis, his 13.5 leads the way. Bennett Wong on the pommel horse, a 13.7. And on the rings, Danny Graham, the vet, will win another individual title with a 14.1. And Connor McCool, the Bay High jumper, McCool, 14.25, will win the individual title for floor. And Evan Davis, unless we see a 16 from Fletcher, is going to bring home the individual title.
That's right.
On the all-around for Evan Davis.
Very good routine from Fletcher, though. Not quite enough to bring home the W, though, for them.
Iowa's going to take home the victory here. We'll wait just a moment for all the final scores to get put in. But as I mentioned, Iowa is going to win 4 individual titles and the all-around today is they'll go to 2-0. Big win for the Hawkeyes with looming on the horizon. Number 1, Penn State set to come to town. That'll be on BTN Plus, 6 p.m. this upcoming Saturday, just a week from today. After that, Iowa heads to Ann Arbor, Michigan on March 6th, and then March 13th against Ohio State. So 2 of the next 3 against top 5 teams, 3 of the 4 against top 5 teams. You want to prove yourself? That's the way to do it.
Definitely a big win.
On the other side for Illinois, their upcoming schedule, it's a tri-meet with Nebraska and Michigan on Sunday the 21st. Before the scheduled Winter Cup, the 26th through the 28th in Indy, and then Minnesota to end out the schedule on March 22nd on the road. Gonna wait for that final score to turn for Fletcher, and then we'll sign off here on BTN Plus. We thank you all for tuning in as Iowa goes to 2-0. Illinois, they fall, pick up their second loss. They go to 2-2 as they've now lost to both Penn State as well as now the Iowa Hawkeyes. Is pending the official final score, but this is a convincing win for Iowa. This isn't a point here. This is probably a 4-point victory for Iowa.
Yeah, it definitely is. And started off strong, kind of faltered a little bit towards the vault and parallel bar rotation, but picked it up and definitely finished very strong. And that was a key part to their win.
Hawkeyes bring it home on the high bar. A 65-6-5 is almost 2 points better than what they posted to start the season. As the Iowa Hawkeyes bring this one home, 402 flat as we get that 13.45 for Michael Fletcher, which rounds out his all-around day. So your final score here from the University of Iowa, 402. Iowa hits flat over 400. Illinois 397.6. It's a convincing +4 victory for the Iowa Hawkeyes as they get set to take on Penn State next week. For all of our staff and crew here at the Big Ten Network and Nick Merriman alongside me, this is John Rosson signing off. Have a good night, folks.
Okay, this is my review of Chief TV Services IPTV service. It's got Ketchup, which is like a DVR. So you go to USA Entertainment and see. You got like A&E, AMC, Bravo. Not every channel is on here. Freeform, Lifetime Movie Network. ABC, NBC, CBS catch up. You got like movies and series on here. I guess the favorites that I had from another month aren't on here anymore, but like, okay, I will bookmark American Idol, that's reality. I will bookmark Catfish, the TV show, that's on MTV. I will bookmark Chrisley Knows Best. I will bookmark Growing Up Chrisley. I will bookmark Halloween Wars. I will bookmark Lindsay Lohan's Beach Club, Joe and Jessa Counting On, Mama June from Not to Hot. I will bookmark Love Island. I will bookmark Outdaughtered. I will bookmark The Bachelorette, The Bachelor, Teen Mom 2. I will bookmark Kate Plus Date. I will bookmark The Wall. I will bookmark Kids Baking Championship. Amy Schumer learns to cook. Teen Mom UK, I'll bookmark that. I'll bookmark Candyland. Okay, so this is how you would get cheap IPTV. You gotta pay $15 for it a month. But I mean, I'm on automatic billing. So I go to File Linked on my Fire Stick. You install it. Okay, and the code is 801-29293. See, so if you go, there's the apps. And I think I have the 2021 app downloaded on my Fire Stick already. Okay, I'm going to show you the let's go to kids on TV series. Bookmark Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Go to family. Let's see if they have anything good here. I'll bookmark Free Reign. Hannah Montana, I'll bookmark that. Bookmark Double Dare, Fuller House. Halloween Baking Championship. The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Okay, I got some movies bookmarked here too. See, I got the Lion King bookmarked, the Meg bookmarked, Lena and Snowball, the real Michael Jackson, Elephant, Disney Nature movie narrated by Meghan Markle, Annette Bening movie 20th Century Women, the Ted Bundy film Extremely Wicked, The Kids Are All Right, Annette Bening film, American Beauty, another Annette Bening film, Life Itself and Bugsy, 2 more Annette Bening films. And you can search the title of a film to see if it's in here. Like, let's say you like the film regarding Henry, which is a Annette Bening 1991 movie. Regarding Henry. Yep, that's in here. So I can bookmark it. They have 2021 movies, 2020 movies. They have documentary movies here. Ooh, African Cats. I want to bookmark that. Justin Bieber's Believe, I'll bookmark that. Katy Perry documentary. Oh, this looks like a lion documentary. A pedophile biography, Mary Kay Letourneau biography. I'm interested in that. It's actually a dead pedophile because Mary Kay Letourneau passed away last year. One Direction, This Is Us. Oh, it's 8 o'clock now. Let's go to live TV. Okay, let's go to U.S. Entertainment. Let's bookmark Lifetime Real Women. Then you got all your locals like ABC, CBS, Fox, CW, and My. Then you got USA Low Bandwidth. I'm going to bookmark Lifetime Real Women, Lifetime Movie, Lifetime East, bookmark MTV Classic, with this you got a big selection, 24/7 shows, like 2,907, big selection of that. So this is an IPTV service, and I actually used this in November, December, January, February. I've used it a couple months now, and they have 24/7 kids and family. Haven't seen any that I like so far. Oh, I like Bachelor in Paradise. Let's bookmark that. Oh, Catfish, the TV show. 24/7. I'll do Chrisley Knows Best 24/7. "24/7 Dirty John," because I like to watch season 2. The Dan Broderick, Betty Broderick profile. Ellen's Game of Games, I'll bookmark that. Full Frontal with Samantha Bee. do Growing Up Chrisley. That's kind of similar to Chrisley Knows Best. Same family. Jill and Jessa counting on. Bookmark those. Okay, for more IPTV review videos, smash the like button, hit the big red button, and subscribe. Peace out, YouTube.